Hey, what's going on, everybody? Carnegie Dutch with Dark Eldar Homestead. Been a while, but I'm still, in the mix, working on my Reaver Jetbikes, as you can see. I'm in the mix of doing quite a few shows, so oftentimes I don't get a chance to do the videos and the amount of time and speed that I would like to do them. But since I am in the theater, lighting is considerably better here than it is in my home. That being said, we're going to continue on with the list building series. Let me get this guy in a little closer. And we're going to start with Reavers. As you can see, I'm still working on my Reavers. They're a fast attack choice in the new Dark Eldar Codex that we are going to preview right now. Your standard Reavers are going to run you about 48 points for 3. Look how slick those guys are. These guys are the arena champions of High Komora, bent on speed. As a matter of fact, they treasure the swift, speedy kill. Their bikes are more weapons than just, craft that they travel on. Yeah, they have other weapons that are integrated into the bikes, grav talons, cluster caltrips. But for the most part, the bike itself is the weapon. And a good Reaver can decapitate, eviscerate, mutilate, overall kill a person or an enemy or a quarry at high speed. This is what they envy about their culture. As you can see, let's get in a little closer here. As you can see, they start out with 3 models. Weapon skill 4, BS 4, strength 3, tough 4. That's always good. 1 wound, 6 initiative, 1 attack, leadership 8, 5+ regular save. This is because they're on their bikes. You can upgrade one to an arena champion, gives you another leadership value and some special rules, grav talon and cluster caltrips. He can also have weapons from the melee weapon list, which I believe is an agonizer and a power weapon. I think the agonizer is 25 points. The power weapon is 15 points. I tend to stray away from this because this unit is going to be led by my autarch on Jetbike with a mantle and shard and banshee mask, all that stuff. So they'll just be there to soak up hits and do damage because, on turn, I believe they get 3 attacks on the turn. They charge. But here's the cool stuff. Witch suit, splinter pistol, close combat weapon, Reaver Jetbike, and blade veins. Blade veins basically are Hammer of Wrath attacks. You can get cluster caltrips, which I would recommend. You can bring a cluster caltrip, for every 3 Reavers that you have. I run these guys in units of 9. There's very little downside to this unit being placed in your force. They're easy to collect, they're fun to paint, and they're really awesome on the board. They can fill quite a bit of roles if used properly. And they're only 48 points for 3, and they're awesome looking. No downside to the unit. They're coming in. Also, they have combat drugs, hit and run, which they did not have in the last edition, which sort of made them a kind of a hit or miss thing. We wanted to keep them out of combat, but this was a great way to nullify them back in the last edition, was to just bog them down in combat, and before you knew it, you could whittle them down. Night vision, power from pain, skilled rider. Don't forget that. It's very important. These guys are coming in at 16 points a pop. You can bring up to 12. So you can have, 4 cluster caltrips going about. They can be outfitted with heat lances if you want to go in and do some damage to tanks. But with the cluster caltrips at strength 6, you're going to be hitting at strength 6. It's D6 extra Hammer of Wrath attacks. You can slice a tank or something, a heavy tank, up with these guys. Once again, I think that this is a good unit to just start with. These guys are certainly going to go into my force. I like the way they play. This bike right here looks a little different from the rest of them because that's going to be the bike for my autarch. I have yet to build it. And the riders right now are all being stripped of paint. And some pieces I need to continue to add. They're not finished yet. I've done none of the primary highlighting. I did a little bit on the seats to try to make them look leathery. And then this was mostly the test model, trying to get sort of that energy look on the grid inside of it, the chassis. Reavers, fantastic. I'll probably, again, run them in units of 9, 3 cluster caltrips, something like that. Then I'll throw an autarch in there to run around with them and cause even more mayhem, death, and destruction. If you're looking to just bring a bunch of these guys, consider the Real Space Raiders detachment. You can bring up to 6 units of these guys, or 6 fast attack choices. I may only run upwards of 2 units of 9. I can't imagine running more than that, but yeah, for some bent on death and destruction arena champions and flyers of craft that are weapons themselves, I think there's very little downside to this unit, and I think you have a good time. They're tough 4. They can shoot on the move. Skilled riders, so they can get to where they need to go, not concerning themselves really with difficult terrain. I think they are sort of like the flagship unit of this codex. I could be wrong, but as far as building my list, these guys are an auto include. All right, guys. See you later.